This is a video about the Space Engineers Carry Your February contest, hosted by Dutch Victim. There's a link to it below. I went through every submission and picked the 5 most interesting ones that I found, and I covered them in this video. I'm Lightshaft, and I'm here with Mr. Fluffums.
Hey guys.
There were several things that led to the top 5 in our selections, part of which was some of the ships, if they didn't pass the very lenient grading criteria of this contest, I didn't count it at all as a potential. So anything that violated it in the smallest way, there's so many entries that there's always something else to choose from.
Also, as a side note, Light here has already seen all of these ships and come to his own conclusions, so his thoughts are much more organized, because this is the first time I've seen all of these ships. So you got two perspectives to work off of.
Yeah, we've got first impressions and the guy who walked around every ship for 5 or 10 minutes. Our selection for number 5 is the Architeuthis class assault carrier by Unknown Squid.
Was that? I see what he did there.
Yep. I think I see it too. Alright, here's what you really want to do. You see where I'm at? You following me? Alright, you come up to the top one of these.
Oh my god. That is awesome.
It's just an attention to detail with the gravity generators that I haven't seen, and it's amazing.
This could be a freaking fun house.
Yeah, looking at the fighters on the ceiling, I was skeptical at first, but then I jumped and I was like, oh, all of my previous dispositions have vanished. So really, use of gravity generators it's the main reason why I feel that this deserves the top 5.
That's truly a feature I haven't seen in many ships. Now that we got those modifiable gravity generators, I hear people talking about it a lot, but this is really the first ship I've actually seen someone do it.
I saw another ship or two in all the ships that I went through, and they did the tube thing where you go down one way and then you get sucked the other direction. That was cool, but this ship just took it to a whole other level. Really unique design as well, and I think it's well executed. Number 4 choice was the OCA-1 Oracle carrier, or the Gemini carrier. Seems like there's a couple names for this one, by Oracle TX. There were a few things I liked about this carrier. Part of it was definitely the exterior. It would have been very easy to leave this as a simple kind of boxy look, but they took the time to get a bunch of angles on the outside to make it look pretty good.
I second that. Good use of angles, and it's pretty unique design. The colors are a nice touch too.
I love the numbered hangers. At first I was looking at them from the upside down, so I was really confused at the symbolism that I was seeing. Then I saw it was 1 through 5.
Light is illiterate, by the way.
But I like shiny colors, and this ship has them. I like that all the hangar the hangar bays individually have their own sets of lighting, and it really looks nice.
Even illiterate people enjoy shiny colors.
I'm gonna hit you. I think it was just a simple design. It has what it needs. It's a carrier. It's meant to hold ships.
I think the true potential in this carrier, with all the rotating landing pads, is going to be shown when we get those macros for rotors.
Yeah, I forgot about that. When macros come around, I feel like this is going to be an extremely efficient way to launch your ships, where you can push a button and have all of the red hangers just flip up and go. It was great. don't have to worry about traffic. Everybody's exposed to space, and they're ready. That's another one of my major favorite points of this ship.
I think my favorite functional aspect of this ship would have to be how easy it is to get the fighters back onto the rotors. With the huge hangar bay on the back of the ship, and all the slots that you can see the fighters are currently placed in.
Yeah, it's not really hard to get to anything. There's plenty of space to maneuver. I like it. Number 3 choice is the Mercy Carrier by Stonewolf. I went and looked at every single entry for this contest in the hopes of finding those few gems that they would just blow my mind, and this is definitely the one I was looking for.
Bold statement.
It's proof that great things can come in small packages, because this is one of the smallest carrier entries. Looking at it right off the bat, I did not expect it to be able to carry 20 ships at all with any chance. But sure enough, it has, I think, 22 in its main area. I also really enjoyed the attention to detail inside this ship. There's a lot of little things going on. Lots of hallways to check out, things to go into, things to climb up.
Yeah, with the short amount of time that I've had to explore this small carrier, I'd say it definitely appeals to me. The compact size I see as more of a pro than a con. It just makes it that more practical. The fact that it's able to carry 20 fighters in itself is pretty remarkable, especially with the fact that he's included aesthetics and probably some of the most functional rotor doors I've seen.
I feel like this is a jail cell.
Holy shit, you're right.
Isn't that's great? It's like the little things, you know?
It's a brig, yeah. This is awesome. There's a toilet, and there's a bunk.
So many points. It's just great.
And if you're wondering, the bunk was also made out of toilets.
Toilet suspended off the wall in the air. Final thoughts?
There is much innovation in this ship design.
I always enjoy seeing new things, and the brig. I haven't seen that before, and I was really happy. Great things can come in small packages, and I love this ship strictly because of that. Number 2 pick was the Argos Exile Carrier by Vermilion.
Like a beer just to talk about the fighters.
I always love to see a good presentation when looking at these maps, and I love the fighters going into the carrier bay. Feels like you're there.
The blue reflector lights are a really nice touch because it almost feels like you're going through some kind of force field.
Yeah, exactly. So once you get past the presentation factor, you go through the blue lights, and then the first time I came in here, I was instantly immersed in it. I thought the lighting was great, the use of textures was great. The bridge has a skylight. Look out at the stars. Also, the hallways in this thing, I love them.
I was about to mention those. These are some of the greatest hallways I've ever seen.
They remind me of Star Wars Battlefront. I feel like I'm in one of the maps.
Exactly.
I also like this ship because of the exterior. I've never seen a ship look quite like this one.
It's really unique, and it just honestly looks good.
Yeah, it was a good execution of it. I really like the shields on the front of it. I think they're a really cool looking design. I just think that the ship has an overall really good theme to it. At least from my perspective, I really like it.
Do you think this tail portion over here could also be used as a ramming implement?
That's not the tail, that's the front.
Oh, so it is a ramming implement. It looks like a stingray.
It's not a backwards stingray.
It's a stingray. Haven't you seen the ships that are in this, the fighters?
I know, I love the baby stingray out front. It's my favorite thing. But I feel like the way that the bridge is phased is towards the front of it, and that would be the pointy part.
You're probably right, but it looks like a stingray.
Number 1, the Governor class combat carrier by Damaran.
Now, to be fair, I have actually looked at this ship beforehand, so this is not the first time I've seen this ship.
Okay. This ship, to me, embodies what a carrier essentially should be. Not only that, but it fits all the contest criteria. So, thumbs up.
So you're saying carrier is supposed to be aesthetics.
There's a significant amount more to this carrier than just aesthetics.
This is true.
There's a single traffic lane going throughout it, so that there's no build-ups of spaceships running into each other. Everything can just go out and come in one direction. It's as big as it needs to be, and no bigger. It has enough space for everything to move around. Provides excellent protection to the center of it, where all the fighters actually are. And the exterior just has a really good ongoing theme to it. There's just the right amount of detail on the outside. And the interior is just very pleasing to look at as well.
And there's a lot of it.
Whole bunch of places to run around and get lost in. I like that there's enough space on the inside to look through the floors and see things past other things. There's an element of openness to the inside. Looking at this ship again, I found places that I hadn't seen before.
Overall, nothing's been overlooked on the ship. In fact, it's basically the opposite. There's just detail poured in everywhere you look, as well as keeping a nice flow to the design, and just an overall good atmosphere. It really feels like you're walking through a carrier.
I like that there's multiple ways to get to several places. I didn't know that there was a back door to the bridge until I spent some time in this ship. It's just little things like that, the little hidden corridors. It's the little things that make things great. There's also a bit of presentation with this build, with the ships flying next to it and around it. Feels like a little bit of an action scene, but the carrier is certainly the focal point. I took the time to go through every single one of these entries, and to me, these are definitely 5 worth checking out. Once again, if any ship missed one of the criteria, I couldn't bring myself to involve it in this list because there were so many great entries. And going through all these contest entries and looking at the criteria of the contest itself, it kind of inspired us in a way to look at the competition, how we might run it. And we came up with a couple of suggestions that could be implemented into other people's contests in the future, or maybe our own. And we believe that people could benefit from hearing some of these. A big part of looking at these maps is the presentation, and seeing a live action scene or like a frozen action scene with all the ships moving or in transit to somewhere. It's always great, but it does slow down mini computers when they're trying to view these maps. So I think a good criteria for the future would be when the map is uploaded to the Steam Workshop that it's clear of any other ship. There might be some exceptions to this rule, like proving that a certain amount of small ships can fit in a large ship, but for the most part, I think that the map should be empty, just so that it's easier to run through it and view everything without system slowdowns.
To add on to Light's point, if you do want to show off your awesome frozen action scene, or maybe a sweet fleet formation that involves other ships aside from your actual submission ship, feel free to do that through your pictures that you put on the forum to actually present your ship. This can also be taken advantage of through video presentation, which we will cover in a bit.
Lights are a huge part of the immersion factor of a ship. even part of the presentation. But when you have so many lights that it causes the computer to slow down when it's trying to view everything, it doesn't really matter how shiny your ship looks. It detracts from the experience and it makes it not worth putting them on.
Be reasonable with how many lights you put on your ship.
So that's something to take into account when you're lighting up your ship like a Christmas tree.
If you have hangar doors or anything that operates by rotor, have them opened in the submission file that you upload to the Steam Workshop. Within some of the submissions we've seen, there are some rotor doors that are actually pretty hard to spot just because of how well they blend in with the ship. You don't want to have people who are viewing your submission on the Steam Workshop looking around for these rotor doors, or maybe even missing them completely. So if you want them to notice them for sure, make sure you have them open.
Sticking with the idea of doors, it's great if all of the actual doors in your ship are open as well, because going through and pushing that little keypad for every little door that you have to go through, it gets tedious. So if all the doors that should be open are open on your ship when you submit it, it makes life a lot easier. And those are just some of the ideas and suggestions that we came up with going through all these submissions. In the future, we'll probably hold our own contest, with some of these rules being part of the criteria for submissions. One more thing within the submission criteria, this might not be a requirement, but it would definitely be helpful to those viewing your creations. A short video is just excellent, especially for the ships that are more hardware intensive than others. Just to go through the ship, maybe even explain it from your own point of view so that the important things aren't missed. A 2 or 3 minute long video is a lot easier to handle than exploring a ship for 5 or 10 minutes. Once again, it's not a necessity, although it's not a problem to go through and download every single ship and then go through every single one. It's nice to just have a shortcut sometimes and be able to view the ship from the builder's perspective so that we can see what they feel is the most important parts of their ship.
Having a video to present your submission should never be a requirement, but it can definitely help with the presentation. It gives the creator a lot of freedom to portray their creation the way they want it to be seen.
I feel like we already have an outro.
What is it?
I don't remember, but I feel like we have one.
That's it, right there. It's beautiful. Did you see that unfold?
I only saw it after it happened.
That makes it all the more authentic.